Good morning, my dear students and the viewers. It's been a great pleasure in this morning. This is Khan Mohammad Kamal Hussain. I am an assistant English teacher of Katalchuri High School, Mirjagos Patuakhali. Today I am here to conduct a new class with a new one. So I welcome all of you today to our Mirjagons Upazila online school page to my new topic on 10 questions of English second paper for SSC level. Dear students, I am expecting very active participation throughout this live class, and I will try to give you some effective as well as interesting rules and regulations related to 10 questions. So dear students, please look at the board. Today's my topic is on 10 questions. I am starting the class with an example of 10 questions. It's rain in main statements Dear students, you follow there are two parts are written here. This is the main statements and the parents, which is called the tag questions. How do you define the tag questions? So we can define in this way that tag questions or question is a phrase tag questions or question is a phrase that starts with an auxiliary verb and it turns into a question or say that the statement is correct. So how is written the tag questions, and see that tag questions is started with an auxiliary verb, or that means auxiliary verb plus not plus subject if the statement is the affirmative sentence, and if the statement is negative sentence, operator plus subject. So we can write the structure. Verb nt plus subject if the statement is positive auxiliary verb plus subject if the statement is negative. Okay. Examples. Example, we don't play football. Do we, as it is the negative statement, so we have to write auxiliary verb plus subject. Okay, and this is the example of another tag questions. The example of we play football don't we. Okay, auxiliary verb plus not. The contraction form of auxiliary verb plus not don't, because there is no auxiliary verb found here, so we have to take an auxiliary verb do, because it is the present indefinite tense. So I have taken the auxiliary verb do, and it's do plus not a contraction form don't plus subject. Dear students, now I have to write some operators. You know that there are 24 operators needed for tag questions. What are they? 24 operators. 24 operators: am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had, do, does, did. Can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, will, would, must, need, dare, used. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 2, 3, 4. Okay, these are the auxiliary verbs or operator needed for tag questions. Okay, and without these operators you cannot make tag questions. And you have also know the contraction form of auxiliary verb plus not for making the tag questions if the statement is affirmative. The students, please look at the board. Full form of AV, that means auxiliary verb plus not, and the contraction form of it. Am not, aren't, is not, isn't, are not, aren't, was not, wasn't, were not, weren't. These are the contraction form of to be verb. Then I am writing the another thing. Have not, haven't, has not, hasn't, had not, hadn't, do not, don't, does not, doesn't, did not, didn't. Then you are clear with me. Then I have to write another auxiliary verb and plus not and its contraction form. In brief, I can say that you will write only the contraction form of auxiliary verb plus not. Please look at the board. Suppose do not, only you will follow do plus not attached, do plus n, don't, and you will apostrophe instead of o, then write t, don't. Could, couldn, couldn't, and instead of o you will give apostrophe and t. Okay, couldn't. In this way you have to write the form of auxiliary verb plus not. The contraction form is written in this way. Dear students, so there are four auxiliary verb plus not is not and its contraction form is isolated. Suppose am not, aren't, shall not, shan't, will not, won't, cannot, can't. These are different from another types of auxiliary verb plus not. Okay, I hope you are clear with me. Please, you have to remember and you have to highlight on it. Okay, now I have to say some subjects of tag questions which are used for making tag questions. Subjects used for making tag questions. I, we, you, he, she, they, it, here, there, that, he is only used for Allah. Please follow the he. Yes is written for capital letter because it is used for only Allah. Beside this, you will write Allah if you find any sentence. Allah is the subject. Okay. Dear students, you follow that these pronouns are used for making tag questions. So, come to the point, and I have to write some rules. Please look at the board. Rule 1. I am giving an example of tag questions. Suppose she reads a book. Dear students, you see that this is the subject and this is the verb, and you have to know that the subject of the main sentence is the subject of the tag questions. The subject of the main sentence is always subject of the tag questions. Suppose you see that she is the subject of the main sentence. She is the subject of the main sentence. So I am writing she. Dear students, then rule number 2. You have to take an auxiliary verb or auxiliary verb plus not and its contraction form, because this is the you have been taught that the contraction form of auxiliary verb plus not, and it is also told that if the sentence is affirmative sentence, you have to write the auxiliary verb plus not and its contraction form, because there is no auxiliary verb. So you have to think that it will be the either present indefinite tense or past indefinite tense. You know, do or does is used only for present indefinite tense as an auxiliary verb. So if does is only for used the third person singular number, because I have to write does as an auxiliary verb. Does as an auxiliary verb. I have to write does as an auxiliary verb, and there is no not found here. So you have to understand that this is the affirmative sentence. So you have to write in this way, that auxiliary verb plus not and its contraction form, does, does plus not and its contraction form does, does, n, connect n, and instead of o you will give apostrophe t, doesn't. So I can write doesn't see. This is the rule number 2. Okay. So my dear students, I think you are clear with me, and if the sentence is past indefinite tense, you will see that there is no auxiliary verb in the sentence. Yeah, dear students, I am writing another example of tag questions. Dear students, you see that she plus read. Dear students, the previous sentence you have followed that read plus yes, reads, but in this sentence you don't find reads and you don't find yes or yes. So you have to think that if the sentence is affirmative, if the sentence is present indefinite tense, you can find that reads, but there is no yes found with the read, so it is the past indefinite tense. So you have to take an auxiliary verb did, and there is no not. That means not is absent in the sentence, so it is the affirmative sentence. So you have to make tag questions, auxiliary verb plus not and its contraction form didn't see. Okay. So my dear students, I think you are clear with me and you have understood it. Okay. Dear students, I am going to another rules such as rule number 3. Lina is a student Dear students, you see that Lina is the subject and it is a noun. You know, and you have told previously that the subject of the tag question is always pronoun. So Lina is a feminine gender, so you have to write she instead of Lina. So here is an operator is, which has also be given. So is, isn't she. So you can find, you have found that the subject of the tag question is always pronoun, though the subject of the main sentence is noun. Beside Allah, then if you find Allah is, Allah is Almighty. Allah is Almighty. Allah is Almighty. So you can write, and Allah is Almighty. Isn't Allah or isn't He? Okay. 5 minutes. Dear students, variations in tag question. There are some variations tag questions. Variation of tag question. If the subject of the main sentence somebody, someone, nobody, no one, none, everyone, you will use pronoun or all, you will use pronoun they, such as somebody called me, didn't they? I have used they instead of somebody. Nobody believes a liar. Do they? So you will use they instead of the pronoun which have been written. Dear students, then another rules, if the subject of something, everything, nothing, or anything, something, everything, nothing, anything, you will use pronoun it. For example, something is similar to you. Isn't it? Okay. Nothing is impossible. Possible is it. Okay. So my dear students, I have to finish the class now. And thank you for being with me. I would like to invite you for the next class. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Stay safe and stay healthy.